Good evening, kindred. I am Teranz, and welcome back to more Vampire the Masquerade Coteries of New York. Last time we visited court again with a Anarch in tow, and now Miss Langley, because I cannot remember her first name off the top of my head, but I can remember Miss Langley for some reason, is wanting to meet us today because she wants to have us start doing stuff. So, that being said, let's continue. I can remember how I did the voices. Alright. Once more, darkness falls upon the city. You wake up same as you have the past few nights, in a windowless room. As you pry open the reinforced steel doors, you look out the window to see, invariably, a sky bereft of sunlight. Then it hits you, the hunger. For a moment, you let yourself wonder if there will ever come a night when it's just not there. Given what you've learned so far, you probably have as much chance of kick-starting your heart with jumper cables. You lock the apartment behind you and head over to Sophie's apartment. You did promise to call on her, might as well not keep the lady waiting. And hey, what else are you gonna do? Call Jess? Yeah, right. What would you tell her? If she even picked up at all, she'd probably use the opportunity to stick some more needles in you, or worse, persuade you to come back. She'd probably use the opportunity to do that. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. Sorry, like I said in the previous episode, sometimes I'll read sentences, but I'll put like the pauses in weird spots so that it like doesn't actually make sense. But this time I just missed the sheet. Anyway, or go back to work? Yeah, who are we kidding? HR probably found a replacement the day after you went missing. Nobody there cares if you got kidnapped or turned into a creature of the night. These thoughts put you in a weird mood. Sorry, I feel a sneeze coming on. One sec. Alright, there we go. Sorry for the gross noises. It's a strange sensation to walk the crowded streets, same as you have so many times before, but feeling so disconnected. All these people. You're not one of them, not anymore. You're a vampire, kindred. You need to carve your own path in this strange new existence one way or another. Appropriately enough, you arrive at Sophie's building just as that thought crosses your mind. A quick word with the security guard and you're let into the elevator. Apparently, Miss Langley is expecting you. Of course she is. You knock and wait patiently as the footsteps on the other side grow closer. Finally, the door opens and Gregory, Sophie's driver, invites you in. Find the lady herself standing by the window, silhouetted against the city's midnight glow. She stares out, motionless, like a marble statue. Sorry, my nose is just thinking it needs to be dealt with. 1 second. There we go. Sorry, I don't know. Just probably because it's like around the time of season it's changing. My allergies are kind of kicking in more. At least that's what I think it is. So I'm going to have to take something for it after this session. I just didn't realize it was going to be as bad as it is. Anyway. Hey, am I interrupting something? She doesn't react immediately, but seems to snap out of some meditative state and looks... Sorry. She doesn't react immediately, but seems to snap out of some meditative state and looks at you with strangely bleary eyes. Yes you are, but that's alright. I've been meaning to ask you something. When you look out at the city, when you see the lights, hear the hum, smell the rain on the pavement, what do you think about? You gaze out. The lights and rain, the relentless honking below, music blasting from a nearby window echoing off the building. Someone should record an hour of this and throw it up on YouTube as an ambient piece. Other than that though, it's business as usual. The sights, the sounds, the smells, you know them all too well. Sophie watches you. You can tell she's disappointed somehow, but she covers it up with a courteous smile. Well, not everyone can appreciate the intricacies that the world offers. In fact, among kindred, my clan is somewhat notorious for finding innate meaning in even the mundane. You see, the blood that flows within me is that of Clan Toreador. There are 13 such bloodlines among us kindred, though that number has been contested in the past, and these nights, it seems that nothing is certain anymore. The clans have gone by many epithets over the years, but the names used these nights have their roots in medieval times, the original Inquisition, if you can believe it. They use these to categorize us, describe our inherent differences. In time, we adopted them ourselves. Each clan has a uniqueness about it, inescapable, or originating from an ancient progenitor carried from sire to child. For the Toreador, the gift lies in a sensitivity of sorts. We are uniquely attuned to beauty and ugliness both. We can see either where most cannot. A blessing on most nights, occasionally a curse. The sheriff is of my clan as well, although you'd be hard-pressed to see him as such. Poor Kadir, it breaks my heart to see him in this state. Still, there is a beauty to it as well, nothing like a good fall from grace. Try as she might to act playful, you can tell she genuinely cares. She lets her gaze wander for a brief moment, but is quick to regain her composure. Then there are the Ventrue, known for their pride and a proclivity to rule over others. The prince represents that clan, as is quite common in our society around the globe. Where the Blue Bloods think themselves rulers, the Brujah like to see themselves as preeminent revolutionaries. They call for a universal rebellion while being slaves to their own temper. We do not discuss the rabble much anymore, not after they've largely broken off with the Camarilla. To think they were philosophers once long ago. I hope to tell you more about some of the other bloodlines tonight. Do you know what my clan is? No, I can only guess it based on certain aspects of your behavior and tastes. You'll need to come to your own conclusion and seek validation from your clanmates, if you require such a thing. As you will no doubt learn, some kindred fit these stereotypes more than others. The blood is hard to deny, though there are certainly those who try. but that is perhaps a subject for another time. I invited you here for a reason. There is something I wanted to speak to you about. It is customary in our society, especially among younger kindred, to organize into coteries. Sometimes these are called by the prince themselves or mandated by a fledgling sire. In our case, you may treat this as more of a strong recommendation. I want you to seek out companions. Not only because you need to learn more about our society, but also because it is useful. True friendships are rare among the kindred. But having allies, even temporary ones, is something of a necessity these nights. We might be selfish creatures, but we are drawn to each other nonetheless. Suppose I'm not the social type and would rather go it alone. What then? Well, if you find the company of others disagreeable, I certainly don't intend to force it on you. I'm sure you'll find other ways to burn the nights away. But if you ever find yourself in need of assistance, knowledge, or just someone to talk to, it might be painful to realize there's nobody out there for you. Should you get yourself in a tight spot, I will not always be available or willing to lend a hand, so I suggest you take this recommendation seriously. She puts on a mysterious smile. I spent some of my precious time last night asking around, pondering potential kindred for you to meet. Came up with a short list of contacts. I hope you'll appreciate the gesture. Forging a partnership with them might offer perspectives and viewpoints that I cannot provide. Lenses through which to view are kind. They are all members of the Camarilla, of course, more or less. Alright then, let's hear it. Who's on this list? Eager to learn about them, I see. Good. I'm glad. Alright, come on. So let's start with the Tremere. They are a powerful clan, disliked by many, but feared and respected by many more. They have been an important pillar of the Camarilla since the very beginning. They are blood sorcerers. You look at Sophie with a hint of disbelief. Blood sorcerers. Pretty sure Mark from QA used to brag about having a level 70 blood sorcerer. Somehow you don't think he meant magical vampires. Sophie snickers. Oh child, don't be caught with that look on your face when you meet a warlock in person. They really are adept at using vitae, their own as well as others, to unique and potent effects. Since they are quite rigid in their hierarchy, the kindred I had in mind for you might need some persuading. His name is Agathon. From what I hear, he is quite the scholar, very ambitious. A child of a noted Tremere here in New York, Aisling Sturbridge. Spend enough time with Agathon and I'm sure you'll run into her sooner or later. So by getting to know this Agathon, I can get closer to someone higher up the ladder. Yeah, so though not immediately, I would imagine. Aisling finds herself in a somewhat precarious position, both in the city and her clan. Every move she makes is heavily scrutinized, thus she has learned to tread lightly. Man, this allergy nonsense is really starting to bug me. Anyway, if you wish to contact the young Tremere, I hear you can usually find him in a New Age bookstore out on Broadway. The Tremere have one of their workshops there. Gregory will give you the details. Now the next recommendation comes with a bit of a caveat. As you recall me saying, most bloodlines have unique features that might not be obvious at first glance, while there is one clan whose members wear their curse on their sleeves. I feel like this is one of two, either the Nosferatu or the Malkavians. I feel like with that wording a little bit more towards the Nosferatu. The Nosferatu. Man, what's with the goofy names? Guess they're really big on Blue Oyster Cult. No wonder they make their havens in sewers, abandoned buildings, and such. Their appearance is hideous and obviously unnatural. Had they walked the streets like other kindred, the kind would have learned of our existence long ago. Did she just shudder? It's hard to tell with her usual complexion, but you could swear her skin suddenly took on an even more sickly color. The one I have in mind isn't as big an eyesore as the worst of them, but still, he's no Adonis either. Still, he has some talents and connections that you might find useful. His name is D'Angelo, and he has an office, for lack of a better term, in the otherwise abandoned grain terminal in Red Hook, right next to one of those Swedish stores. The name escapes me, the ones with the awful furniture. Wait, an office? What is he, an insurance agent? He fancies himself a detective, if you can believe it, thus he insists on having an office to meet with his clients. Indulge his little charade. It might make him more eager to talk to you. D'Angelo does odd jobs for Kadir, digging up dirt, locating kindred who would prefer to remain hidden, the kind of work the Nosferatu are best at. He's on a case right now, something to do with kind murders, I think. After your initial brush with our dear sheriff, I think it would be wise to show some goodwill towards his agenda. Assisting D'Angelo with his investigations might just be the thing. She takes a brief pause to look out the window again. Now comes two more exotic proposals. Exotic, as if the blood mage and the vampire detective were business as usual. You may have heard of the Gangrel before. They are a wild clan in touch with their beasts, in a way most others dare not. They are a wild clan in touch with their beasts, in a way others might not dare to attempt. They mostly keep out of big cities, but there are exceptions. Nominally, they haven't been part of the Camarilla for over 2 decades. But the one kindred I would like you to meet has a strong, shall we say, familial ties to the sect. Her name is Tamika. Her sire, Jezebel, was instrumental during the Battle of New York back in 1999, the very same battle that cemented the city as Camarilla domain. Sadly, her achievements have gone largely unrecognized. Tamika and a number of her siblings still reside in the domain they were awarded after the battle, Prospect Park. Jezebel herself left the city some years ago, fed up with being underappreciated. You seem to know a lot about her sire, but is there anything else you can tell me about Tamika? I asked around. Out of all of Jezebel's childhood, Tamika is known to be the most rational and cool-headed, at least for a gangrel. That said, she's likely to have a unique way of appraising your worth. I cannot say how exactly, but you should be prepared for an interesting conversation at the very least. Then again, that could be said of almost every kindred in the city. There's that mysterious smile again. So, you see, seeking out Tamika could prove quite educational if nothing else. And who knows, perhaps you will find her temperament to be a welcome change of pace. But speaking of a change of pace, I have one last suggestion for you, though it's one I don't make lightly. The kindred who calls herself Hope. She is a Malkavian. They are a uniquely cursed clan. For centuries we considered them to be mad, insane, unhinged. But those of us who spend enough time with them come to understand the truth. It is no sickness, but a unique perspective of the world that has them appear to us to as man, words are hard sometimes. Alright. It is no sickness, but a unique perception of the world that has them appear to us as unstable. That perception can prove to be very valuable. Having a Malkavian as your companion might be taxing on the nerves and a true test of patience at times, but their insight and intuition are unrivaled among kindred. As for Hope specifically, she is said to be a recluse, but having on good authority she can currently be found in an internet cafe. I believe it's called in Lower Manhattan. Gregory has the address. Where did you learn about her exactly? One of my colleagues told me about her. He considers her uniquely talented and tapped into the current fads among kind. Not something I'm personally interested in, as I'm sure you know by now. I take his word for it at any rate. Well, I believe that's all of them. I still have a few social calls to make tonight, so I'll leave you to it. Use tonight and tomorrow night to arrange some cordial visits of your own. I will send Gregory for you as soon as I have further need of your services. Oh, that reminds me. You will need a car. Join us downstairs, won't you? She smiles once more and turns to her driver. He helps her put on a coat, and the three of you leave Sophie's apartment. Sophie points to one of the cars near the building as Gregory hands you the keys. It's a rather inconspicuous compact car. Decent looking, if not luxurious ride. Stay safe, Teranz. This is your first night alone. Don't let it be your last. As they drive away, you find yourself with more freedom than you had for the past few nights. A blessing or a burden, time will tell. With a list of addresses in hand, you consider your next move. Alright, so I will pick this up next time. That's where I was going at. I'd like to thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the episode, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button down below and hit subscribe to stay tuned for more Vampire the Masquerade Coteries of New York.